Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And what we're going to make are very large sugar cookies. Now, if it turns out you don't like this recipe, well, I've got a lot of cookies on my channel, but a lot of sugar cookies, so please check them out. I'm also going to tell you that this recipe combines with butter and solid shortening, and I know there are folks out there that don't like solid shortening. So again, if you want pure butter or combination butter, margarine, or whatever sugar cookies, please check out my other videos, okay? But this is, I think, a unique cookie because I always do believe that the shortening kind of gives the cookie, a crisp type quality and gives it kind of more integrity, especially when you're making such big cookies like we're going to make today. I'm using these copper cookie cutters. I've got a star here and an apple and a snowflake, and when I find that if I make cookies this big, I liked this recipe because I think it was the shortening that gave the cookie structure. But I'm sure no expert at it, so, and I'm not a pastry chef, so don't quote me on that. Okay, so let's get started. Now I'm going to go through the recipe and the ingredients because I no longer put them on my videos. I'm sorry, but I don't do that anymore. So let's, get started. First up, you're going to start with your dry ingredients because we're going to change it up a little bit on this recipe. 3 cups of all-purpose flour that I'm putting in my mixing bowl. Okay. We're also going to be putting in a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of baking powder, and then I'm just going to grab a spoon real quick and stir that in. Stir it together, just, a quick stir, okay? Now we're going to cut in the butter. This is a 1/2 cup of butter. I did cut it up in small pieces. I think it's easier that way to work with it, and it has been sitting at room temperature, and my kitchen's pretty warm right now. And then we're also going to put the solid shortening, which I spoke about just a moment ago, and that's going to be a 1/2 cup of that too. So you've got a 1/2 cup of butter and you've got a 1/2 cup of solid shortening. Now, you'll want to actually cut the butter and the shortening together, and you certainly could use this, okay, till you get it to where you want it to be and nice and crumbly. Or what I find I prefer to do, you can also do it in your processor with your your solid blade too. But what I like to do is I actually let my beater do it, and I don't know why. I just think it's easier and kind of not as messy. But if you're used to cutting in butter and shortening in with this, then please feel free. But I wanted to mention that because I know someone will probably write to me about it. So anyway, I'm going to turn the mixer on and to get it slowly to break up the butter and the shortening, and it will accomplish it. I just want to get a little bit off that beater. The butter's sticking there a little. And you just want to put it on low till it all starts to, break up and combine together sort of it, where it becomes, very, very crumbly. Okay? And you can check with your hands to see how it's coming along. Okay, I'm just going to give it a couple more spins here. to take this all out just to show you, okay? I don't know whether you'll be able to see it or not, but do you see how it's really nice and crumbly? Okay, and I did that with just my beater. But again, if you feel better about it, just stay with your little tool that you're used to using and cut it in with that. You know, but it really came together quite nice. I hope you can see that. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's put this back on, because we're going to do a next step. And like I said, this recipe is a little bit unusual. Okay. The next thing that you're going to need is granulated sugar, and you're going to need 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. Okay. And then you're also going to need 2 eggs that I've had at room temperature. Okay. And I'm just going to use my spoon. You can use a whisk, but I'm just going to use this spoon. It's handy, and just bring it all together. But just stir it really well together, or whisk it till you feel it's nice and fluffy. Again, you might prefer to do it with a whisk, because I'm really using my hand and my arm doing this. But it's so smooth and so fluffy. And then it becomes almost like a pale yellow. Okay, so I hope that you can see that. But again, if you want to use your whisk, please feel free. Oh, I really felt that in my hand that time. Okay, and what we're going to do is we are going to now add 2 extracts. We're going to put almond extract, and I'm going to put 1/2 teaspoon in of that almond. Now, if you don't have almond or you don't like it, just use extra vanilla, because we're going to put 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. So like I said, if you don't have the extract, just make it, you know, add it to your vanilla, and the cookie will come out good. It'll taste good. Won't look different or anything like that. And just mix that in. Again, it's very smooth, very satiny, very creamy. Okay. And then I'm just going to slowly add it to this till it forms a cookie dough. I'm going to grab my spatula here. And you can start off low, and then, you know, increase your speed, because your mixer. Now you can do this in a hand mixer if you want. When I start to hear my mixer struggling a little bit, I know it's time to raise the speed. I want to get this all in. My mixture. And now I'm going to turn up my speed, so I'm going to warn you about the sound. Okay, now I used a little bit higher speed because I wanted to move it along for the video so I wouldn't be boring you. too long, and then just take off your excess. Now, if you prefer, you can refrigerate this dough for a half hour, 45 minutes in the refrigerator. You might find that it's easier to handle. I have done it both ways, so what I want to do is I want to basically show you what the dough is going to look like. You know, if you want to make your cookies right away, and if you want to try to refrigerate it. So let me grab my spatula again so I can bring all this cookie dough together. Now, the cookie dough will feel heavy, okay, but the cookie bakes up beautifully light, okay. So this is how the cookie dough will look like once you, it is, you know, a bit sticky, not overly, but it is, you know, sticky. So you do need to, you know, sprinkle flour on your countertop or board or whatever you're using. And I'm just going to show you with a little piece of it what, you know, it looks like. Okay. And you can see, even doing that, without refrigerating, you got to have a little bit more patience in doing it. But it can be done. I'm just going to grab a glass here just to cut out a little round little cookie to show you. Okay, so it's manageable. You know, it's not like you can't. Now you will be putting them on a lightly greased pan, or use your parchment paper. They are going to expand, so you want to give them space, especially with these big cookies. But I do want to show you the dough, but I want to take it out of my fridge to show you a piece. Let me put that back. What it looks like if you refrigerate it. Okay? And this is a piece of it, but I just had it wrapped in saran wrap. I'm going to put a little flour again and just take a piece out of that. And then, of course, with the rolling pin, if you use a regular size rolling pin, I'm using my small one right now. When I make the bigger cookies, I don't know why, I just like to use the small one rather than my large rolling pin. Now, when I make the big cookies, I do make the thickness about a ½ inch. You're gonna kind of play it as it goes along so that you can get an idea, you know, how thick or, you know, thin you want it. And we'll just use the apple here. I'll take away the excess. And then I always have a little spatula to help pick it up just in case. Now you're going to bake these cookies at 350 degrees. And these cookies can take you up to 8 to 12 minutes to bake them up. And you know, all our ovens set up differently, so you know, you want to watch them. You don't want to over bake them. Now, I have some egg whites here. I just want to give them another little beating here. Okay. And then with the brush, you know, what I like to do is just put a nice egg white over it. And then, you know, it's endless what you're going to do. In fact, let me rinse my hands quick. Many times you can apply your colored sugars with spoons and things like that, but I prefer to use my hands, so I don't want to dip my hands into that. And then you can use colored sugars on your cookie, confettis, or a combination. You can make your favorite cookie frosting, of course. Outline the cookie. Okay. I mean, and for whatever occasion, for whether it's Christmas, or I do some with just little Christmas trees, or red and white candy canes, or these I like to do on the snowflakes. They're actually little white snowflakes. Chocolate jimmies. You can use those. I mean, you can, do whatever that you want to, whatever is fun, okay? We'll make this leaf green here, okay? Like that, all right? So you get the idea. Decorate them however that you want, and just watch that you don't overbake them, because you don't want them to be, a real dry cookie that you're not going to enjoy. Now, I generally get a dozen, 12 of these very large cookies. If you don't want to make these large cookies, or you don't have the cutters that big, you probably could render maybe 3 dozen cookies out of them if you're going to, use smaller ones, smaller cutters. But like I said, with these cutters, I get a dozen of the large cookies, okay? So let me set that aside. I'm going to rinse my hands one more time. And again, you can see the difference of the dough once it was refrigerated. So you might enjoy it and find it easier to refrigerate. Cover it with saran wrap or wax paper, as I did, and refrigerate it, because it is easier to handle. Okay, so let me rinse my hands real quickly. I want to do that so that doesn't dry out, and then I want to show you what they look like baked up. Just want to clean up a little bit here. I've been working with raw dough, and I don't want to touch these cookies with my hands after doing that. Okay, and this is how they're going to bake up. I just did the snowflake with little snowflakes, and the apples, red and green for the holiday. These are some red, white, and green also for holiday. But it's endless how you want to decorate them. I'm sure you're going to do a far better job than I am as far as decorations, but these cookies taste good. Let me show you one. Here's a snowflake, but I actually used, they were little holly leaves and little berries, but they kind of melted into the dough. But I wanted to just save this one to show you they will bake up a nice golden brown, and a nice golden brown on the bottom. And like I said, they really hold the structure. They hold the shape, which I like when you're baking with them. And then I just want to break open one of the cookies to show you. Let me move this away here. I hope that you can see it. It's a moist cookie inside. It will have a crisp bottom. It will be crisp on the top. But when you break open the cookie, okay, it is semi-moist. So you will have that bit of that chew to it. You don't hear it snapping, so it's not a dry cookie inside. As I said, it will have, it is, a little bit dry, but it has that chew to it. and I hope you see that. In fact, I'm going to press down on it a little bit, and you can see how moist it is and how chewy it is. So it's, you know, a very structured cookie. But again, I like because it has that crispness to it, but then it still has that moist chew in the center. So I wanted to remind you, please, if you'd be so kind to watch me solely on YouTube. And that's another reason why I no longer put my ingredients to the recipe, because so many people, and I'm not alone on that, they take your work, they put it on different sites and post and pin and claim it theirs, and it's just not worth the time anymore. And again, I'm not alone on that. So I hope I went through the ingredients well enough that if you are interested in making these cookies, you got it, you wrote it down. Let's see what else I want to tell you is that I always want to thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake. If you're so inclined and you'd like to subscribe to the channel, boy, would I appreciate it. If you want to give me a like to the video or ring the bell, it would be just great. So thanks for watching. Again, Diane Lovetobake on YouTube, and I'll see you soon.